Show me.
Hello everyone, Martial Arts Film Freak here, back with another episode of Kung Fu Essential, the series where I pick a martial arts actor or director and introduce you to 5 films that I believe are essential to get acquainted with not just the actor, but the Kung Fu genre as a whole. A series for Kung Fu fans old and new. For this episode, we are talking about one of the biggest martial arts superstars in the world, a Wushu champion and everyone's favorite expendable. I mean, well, he's my favorite expendable. I'm of course talking about Jet Li.
Perfect.
Before we get into the films, we have to run down Jet Li's origin story. Jet Li was born on April 26, 1963 in Beijing, China, under the name Li Lianjie. I'm sure I butchered that. Li was the youngest of 5 with 2 older sisters and 2 older brothers, and unfortunately at the age of 2, his father passed away. Jet Li was introduced to Wushu at a very young age, at the age of 8, when his school introduced it as a summer program, and he was excelling at it so much that his teachers and everyone in charge around him was so impressed that they told him that he needed to stick with it even when the program was over. At the age of 9, he won an award for excellence at the National Wushu Championships, and just 2 years later he won his first national championship and joined the Beijing Wushu team. I could go on and on talking about Jet Li's accomplishments in Wushu competition, but let's just keep it brief and say that he was very successful. There is also an interesting story where the Beijing Wushu team was visiting America, and they did a performance on the White House lawn during the Nixon administration. I believe that something was going on where America had just recently reopened talks and relationships with China, and so the Beijing Wushu team was over there. And Nixon was so impressed that he asked a 12-year-old Jet Li to join his security team. And, I'm sure he was joking, but it was also Nixon. Li retired from competition in 1979, and at the age of 17 began pursuing an acting career. Having the celebrity of a Wushu competition star helped Jet Li land his first leading role in 1982's The Shaolin Temple, making his film debut at the age of 19. He followed up with Kids from Shaolin and soon joined up with Hong Kong legend Lau Kar-leung for his first Shaw Brothers film and our first essential Jet Li film with 1986's Martial Arts of Shaolin. Martial Arts of Shaolin was directed by Lau Kar-leung and stars Jet Li, Yu Hai, and just about anybody that the Shaw Brothers studio had on the lot at the time. Jet Li played Ji Ming, a young monk training at the Northern Shaolin Temple, when he learns of the magistrate who murdered his father. After he learns of this, he joins forces with 2 people from the Southern Shaolin Temple in a quest for revenge. This is an excellent introduction film because you're getting young Jet Li, traditional Kung Fu, and that classic Shaw Brothers / Lau Kar-leung action style. Martial Arts of Shaolin is just an all-around fun Kung Fu movie with gorgeous martial arts and silly to even dumb moments. There isn't that much dumb goofiness. In one scene, Jet Li dresses as a woman, herding a bunch of sheep, and the 2 Southern Shaolin fighters are dressed as 2 of her sheep, and it sounds kind of cringe, but it's not that bad. The kung fu in the movie is stellar, including an awesome assassination attempt and damn, that final battle. The finale is one of the most exciting, epic kung fu finales in my opinion. Just a huge clash of kung fu fighters as people from the northern Shaolin Temple and the southern Shaolin Temple like join forces against evil in this moment that just feels almost as epic as like the Avengers teaming up with the Guardians of the Galaxy. Jet Li's first two movies are good, but thanks to Lau Kar Lung and Shaw Brothers Studio, Martial Arts of Shaolin feels like Jet Li's like true introduction. Jet Li immediately followed up with his first and only self-directed film with Born to Defense, a movie that I think deserves more credit than it gets. I think it is a pretty fun action film. In 1989, we get Dragon Fight, and in 1991, Jet Li takes on the role of one of China's most famous folk heroes in the next essential film with Once Upon a Time in China. Directed by the great Tsui Hark, Once Upon a Time in China stars Jet Li, Yuan Biao, Rosamund Kwan, Jackie Chung, and Kent Chang. Jet Li plays Wong Fei Hung, a martial artist who sort of takes it upon himself to defend the city against some northern martial artists terrorizing the town, as well as some foreign powers who are definitely abusing said power over the local government. The film contains its fair share of goofy elements, but when the movie wants to be dark, it gets dark. This movie goes to places that most like Hong Kong kung fu movies really don't tend to go. Let's stray away from the violence of the story and into the violence of the action. This is a perfect second essential pick because it feels like a perfect evolution from Martial Arts of Shaolin to Once Upon a Time in China. It feels like that perfect escalation in martial arts kung fu action. Martial Arts of Shaolin is grounded, straightforward kung fu, but Once Upon a Time in China has its, simple hand-to-hand fight scenes, and once you think you have a handle on the action, it throws in just crazy wuxia style wire work. And one thing that I like is that the wire work is never like the focus of a fight scene. The wire work is only ever used to enhance the action. I myself struggled with this movie a lot over the years, especially when I was younger. I didn't think it was for me, but after a recent rewatch, sort of like a more mature look at it, I really do appreciate this movie for what it is. Once Upon a Time in China has remained one of Jet Li's most popular films, and I can definitely see why. Jet Li was already a leading man at this point, of course, but something about the directing, the action style, the incredible score, it just feels like a serious moment for Jet Li where he became a leading man up there with someone like Jackie Chan and Gordon Liu. He became the Jet Li that everyone really knows today. Going further into the 90s, and Jet Li got to work. After Once Upon a Time in China, he came out the gate hard with two epic sequels to the last essential film, The Master, The Legend Fong Sai-yuk, Tai Chi Master, which I'm gonna pause right here for a second. Tai Chi Master was nearly one of my 5 essential films. This is an epic classic Jet Li film that is a must-see. I would feel bad if I just mentioned the title and then skimmed over it. The movie is too good for that. Go watch Tai Chi Master. It just barely got edged off this list. You just gotta watch it. Jet Li then had movies like The New Legend of Shaolin, The Defender, aka Bodyguard from Beijing, which is also quite good, and 12 movies after our last essential pick. Only 3 years have gone by. 3 years and 12 movies later, we get Jet Li's next essential film with 1994's Fist of Legend. Directed by Gordon Chan, starring Jet Li, Billy Chow, Seo Ho Chin, Yasuaki Kurata, and lots of other excellent people. Fist of Legend serves as a remake to the Bruce Lee classic Fist of Fury. Jet Li plays Chen Zhen, returning to Shanghai after his master, Huo Wanja, remember that name, passes away. Or was he murdered? It was murder. It was murder. If you've seen Fist of Fury, yeah, you'd know that. It was murder. Jet Li is also returning from his studies abroad in Japan with his Japanese girlfriend, so a lot of his peers and friends in China struggle to accept him back for those reasons, and so it leads to a good sort of two ends of conflict of, you know, his own people trusting him, and then of course his problems with the Japanese who murdered his master. While this is a remake, there are several differences in the story and action to make it feel like its own movie. A mistake this movie could have made was if Jet Li just emulated and copied a bunch of Bruce Lee movements. But Jet Li brilliantly maintains Bruce Lee's deviations in martial arts and kung fu while keeping it all his own. Jet Li essentially follows Bruce's philosophy of Jeet Kune Do with the whole style of no style, but still manages to just be Jet Li. Yuen Woo-ping was the martial arts director, and he intensely crafted every single fight scene. If you asked different people who had all watched this movie which fight scene was their favorite, I can almost guarantee you're going to get different answers from everybody. Every single fight scene is interesting in its own different way. There are times where the fight scenes are sped up, but the choreography and the story told within the fight scene is so invigorating that it's so easy to just look past that. His fight scene with Seo Ho Chin, the blindfold fight with Kurata, Billy Chow's Terminator-esque general, anytime Jet Li is just fighting like a student or like a henchman, it's all just completely memorable. Chen Zhen is a very popular character these days, and even though he's been played by the likes of Donnie Yen and of course Bruce Lee was the first, somehow, you know, it's so good that Jet Li's Chen Zhen could arguably be the best. People talk about movies like Scarface, The Thing, Dawn of the Dead, or The Departed when they're talking about like great remakes, and that list is not complete without Fist of Legend. Easily a must-see Jet Li film, and easily a must for anyone just wanting an incredible kung fu movie. Jet Li immediately followed up with My Father is a Hero, aka The Enforcer, another genuinely good, fun movie. High Risk, aka Meltdown, Black Mask, which I know a lot of people may put on their list. I didn't, I'm not a fan. And he did a few other films before heading over to America, where he was the villain, the very memorable villain, in Lethal Weapon 4. With that very popular credit in Hollywood, Jet Li soon took his first leading role in the West with Romeo Must Die, alongside the late R&B singer Aaliyah, who unfortunately passed away just the next year. This leads us to Jet Li's second Hollywood leading role and our fourth essential film with 2001's Kiss of the Dragon. Directed by Chris Nahan and starring Jet Li, Bridget Fonda, Checky Carrillo, and Cyril Raffaelli, Kiss of the Dragon follows Jet Li's Liu Jian, I'm gonna feel like I'm really messing up some of these names, as a Chinese cop sent to France to help the local police. After witnessing a dirty cop in action, Jet Li is framed for murder and he goes on the run with evidence to clear his name. He also meets a prostitute with a heart of gold. We meet her early on in the film. She has been forced into this life by the dirty cop who has her daughter hidden away from her. that sounds like a heavy subject, you'd be very surprised to know that this movie blows by at a very fast, brisk pace. It's about an hour and 30 minutes long, and it just goes. I was just relaxing, enjoying it on a good rewatch. I haven't seen it in a few years, and suddenly like an hour has just passed by. Admittedly, Jet Li is not given a lot to work with in terms of story for his character in this film. A lot of the heart is really given to the Bridget Fonda character. But Jet Li's charisma and incredible action is really all he needed here. Kiss of the Dragon feels like Jet Li's most defining Western film. He only made about 7 movies over here where he was one of or the lead, and of that batch, Kiss of the Dragon just stands above the rest. An argument could be made for Unleashed, Danny the Dog, if you live in other parts of the world where that movie is titled that. And while that is definitely a great movie with, I don't know if it's great, it's very good. It has probably a better story and better characters than Kiss of the Dragon. However, the action is much more inspired by something else. The action in Kiss of the Dragon feels much more Jet Li. I had completely forgotten some of the fight scenes in this movie, and with the rewatch, when those fight scenes came, it was a pleasant surprise. But even in the years that I hadn't seen this movie, I always remember the finale. And that's not saying it's a boring movie. It's not a boring movie, but that finale is so strong. The finale where Jet Li sort of goes into this police station and he manages to find his way into like a training dojo where there's like 15 cops. That fight's great. And then he goes into the next room where it's Jet Li versus Cyril Raffaelli and like his brother. It's these twin characters. And there is one of Jet Li's best like combinations, like Jet Li versus somebody else. Jet Li versus Cyril Raffaelli. We need to see that again, and we're never going to see that again, but oh my god, they are a perfect pairing. Hong Kong film veteran Corey Yuen worked as the action director, and the film is all the better for it. Jet Li literally has a dozen or so Hong Kong classics, and these 2 fight scenes hold up to almost anything that he did over in the East. It's a really good, really fun movie, but that finale, it's the perfect cherry on top. (2001) also saw the release of The One, and I'm gonna take another second here to speak up for The One. Stop hating on this movie. It's not great, or even very good. Sure, I accept that 100%. It's not a very good movie. But damn it, it is a lot of fun. Like, most of the fight scenes are fairly decent, and then you get that ending again. This ending, Jet Li versus Jet Li, with the Statham on the side, a very young, haired Statham. That's a great fight scene. I stand by that's a great fight scene. It's a great setting. Plus, you're getting like kung fu with early 2000s nu metal. I don't want anything else. Also, it's just genuinely, it's a great concept. The concept of The One. That's, if they always say remake bad movies. Let's remake The One, because the general core concept of this movie, it's a great idea. It's super watchable, and people need to leave it alone. We then get to Cradle to the Grave and Unleashed, which could have been on this list. And before I really get to the last essential film, I need to make a pit stop, go back a few years to 2002, to a movie that you could definitely make an argument for to be on this list, but I just need to clarify some things, because the movie that I'm going to talk about here, it's a brilliant, fantastic film, but what it's up against for the last spot is Fearless. These are 2 A+ films, but with a lot of thought, I put a lot of thought into it. Hero is 2002, Zhang Yimou directed film with Donnie Yen, a bunch of other people. Beautiful, gorgeous, artistic, A+ piece of filmmaking. I love it so much, but it is not a Jet Li movie. It is a Zhang Yimou movie. Zhang Yimou, the director, is an auteur sort of director. He has a style throughout all of his films. Hero definitely falls into that category. It is a Zhang Yimou movie. Fearless. While Jet Li didn't direct it, Fearless is much more purely a Jet Li movie. So with all that being said, let's get into the fifth essential film, 2006's Fearless. Fearless was directed by Ronnie Yu and stars Jet Li, Lee Sun, Colin Chow, Shido Nakamura, Jackie Hyung, and Ji Hyu Chen. Jet Li plays the real-life martial artist Huo Wanja, from his cocky, loudmouth days to the mature founder of the Chinwoo Athletic Association. If the name Huo Wanja sounds familiar, that is because you were paying attention. Huo Wanja is the real-life master to the fictional character of Chen Zhen in Fist of Legend and Fist of Fury. The deceased master in those films that we never see, we only hear about, is Huo Wanja. So Jet Li has played both the real-life master and fictional student. SparkNote's version of Huo Wanja. At a time when China's governments were really crumbling down, foreign powers were just like sinking their teeth into the region, and after some like Russian strongman or something essentially calls the people of China the sick men of Asia, does that sound familiar? Huo Wanja sort of challenges a bunch of foreign fighters and just demolishes a lot of them, becomes very popular, and starts the Chinwoo Athletic Association, this sort of really highly regarded, respected school of wushu studies sort of thing. Jet Li's performance is wonderful. Jet Li has a few movies throughout his career where he really gets to show that he was an actor, not just a fighter, but Jet Li was, probably still is, a really, really good actor. This was also meant to be Jet Li's sort of salute and goodbye to the world of like hardcore kung fu movies, and it is a wonderful salute at that. This was certainly the last movie where Jet Li put in just 150% for the fight scenes, and one of my favorite things about that is we also get a sort of long-term storytelling through the choreography, and this is not a thing that many kung fu movies really do, but Fearless does it wonderfully, where you see the character progression not just through Jet Li's, verbal performance or facial performance, but through his physical, through his martial arts performance, because as a younger man, when he's this brash, hot-headed character, he is very aggressive and offensive with his style. But as he develops, as he matures, he is much more defensive, even though he is fighting, but he has a purpose now. He is fighting for a reason that is not just himself. And in that, he is clearly not just going in there to hurt people. He is going in there to stand for something. And you see that in every ounce of Jet Li's movement. And I want to say that comes down to his wushu background maybe, and mixed with, how seriously he probably took and takes acting. But every ounce of his performance in the martial arts is wonderful. There are moments in some of the fight scenes where I wish the editing and the camera would slow down a bit. This does not happen too often, so it's really not that much of a problem. Jet Li's career really slowed down, only making 14 movies between 2006 and now. Compare that to the 90s where he made 20 movies in 10 years. Now it's 14 movies in 14 years, and most of those were really in those early years. When these last few years he hasn't really done much, but in that time you get stuff like the Expendables movies, the very good but much more dramatic Warlords, Forbidden Kingdom, which a lot of people really hold in high regard, Badges of Fury, which is a bad movie. Badges of Fury is bad. However, the ending, the final fight scene, has a Naruto scene pretty much that I can't help but love. Of those 14 movies he made in that time, none of them really hold up to Fearless as an overall kung fu movie, and I don't think they were meant to. Jet Li in these latter years has stepped back to focus on family and humanitarian work, and I believe it's in the early 2000s, he and his family survived this devastating tsunami that they were just caught directly in the middle of. And, being in such a huge, extreme, traumatic event just made him look at things very differently. And he's sort of just put his focus into helping people. And that's what he wants to do now, which, that is great. All power to him. He still blessed us with so many great films even after this horrible, devastating incident. But that is my 5 essential films of Jet Li. Tell me your thoughts in the comment section down below. Have you seen these films? If you have not, are you going to watch them? And if you have seen them, if you do love Jet Li movies, if you are a longtime Kung Fu nerd, what are your 5 essential Jet Li films? Tell me all that in the comment section down below. Don't forget to share with your friends, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. There will be more Kung Fu Essential videos. Next, I'm thinking Gordon Liu. Maybe someone else, but it's probably going to be Gordon Liu. Like, share, subscribe, all that I've already said. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good day.